Well, fans of the franchise will debate most things, it seems, and that even extends to discussing whether the Star Wars universe is right-wing or left-wing. How convenient for this programme. We're joined by Stephen Bush from The New Statesman, who thinks that the film is a confirmation of the left-wing values of solidarity and collective action. And we're also joined by the journalist James Delingpole, who doesn't think that? Surprise, surprise. Welcome to both of you. So you can obviously see the political side of all this. What is the message behind Star Wars?
Well, it depends on which set of the 6 films you take from. In the first of the 3, the Jedi are an elite group who try and fail to prevent the rise of the dark side. In the original trilogy, you effectively have a cross-caste coalition of, on the one hand, the elite Jedi, Han Solo and Chewbacca, who are effectively small traders, and then the Ewoks, who are your basic proletariat who rise up against what is clearly a kind of quasi-fascistic empire.
Right. I mean, is that how you see it, James Delingpole, in the fact you look at the stormtroopers and people, I can see why they would say that is a sort of fascistic cult and the heroes are left-wing?
Everyone wants to claim Star Wars for themselves. Everyone wants to project their own ideology on the film. Before I go on, can I just say, I concede Jar Jar Binks to Stephen's side of the argument. I think Jar Jar Binks is what would happen if, say, Jeremy Corbyn were in charge. He's the model of all shall have prizes. He's the sort of person who would be over-promoted in the Labour world. Generally, I think it's pretty obvious that the rebels... I'm not going to talk about the more recent ones, which I can't stand because of Jar Jar Binks, but in the early classic Star Wars...
Which I've seen, yes.
I'd say you were right on one thing. Han Solo and Chewbacca are white van man, but they'd be voting UKIP. The Rebel Alliance is clearly fighting against the evil empire, which probably was the Soviet Union in the time of the film was made, possibly the EU now. But it's clear that the tyranny is the tyranny of the left, not the right.
Right.
There's no way that 2 characters who could... A ship which can do the Kessel Run in 5 parsecs would be against the free movement of Labour. They are... I mean, maybe they're swashbuckling libertarians, but UKIP voters, that's not...
Well, but is that the key? Do you concede they could be swashbuckling libertarians?
Well, every successful left-wing movement in British history has been able to get some swashbuckling libertarians over to its side.
Right. I mean, in that terms, then let's think of who the politicians might represent, because Obi-Wan Kenobi, could that be Jeremy Corbyn?
I think Jeremy Corbyn is more like... If you look at Peter Cushing in the first film, if you gave him a bit of stubble and a pair of sort of skater shorts and a bad jacket, that would be Jeremy Corbyn. I think Jabba the Hutt is probably somebody like Al Gore, a sort of classic crony capitalist making his money out of something dodgy like carbon credits.
Right. I mean, in the end, though, who are the villains in terms of Star Wars politically? I mean... Can you see James Delingpole's point that actually perhaps the stormtroopers could be left-wing, communists, Stalinists, wanting everyone to be the same?
Well, no, because the stormtroopers owe their position to their DNA. They're clone troopers, which is the classic of your kind of typical right-wing inherited privilege. So, yeah, they're not meritocratic at all.
Right. I mean, the Jedi, of course, talk about inheritance, that the Force is within their families, that this is something they've passed on through generations, and that sort of inherited wealth one would associate with Conservatives or Tories or...
But I suppose the classic Conservative position would be you shouldn't judge somebody, even if they are a princess or whether they're a poor farmer, as Luke originally starts out as, before we discover he's Princess's brother. We don't judge people on their background, we judge them on their behaviour.
Right. Do you think this is a bit sad, really, this discussion about seeing all this politics in Star Wars?
Well, I'm way out of my depths here. I've never seen a Star Wars. However, I live in the wilds of Northumberland, and I notice it is coming to the Annick Playhouse just after Christmas, so it's possible that the Mullins will take a trip down there, after which I shall be better informed and able to engage in a discussion.
Yes, I'm not sure I can promise we'll do this argument again, but anyway, thank you both very much.